Today I want to talk about aims and goals, particularly the fact that most people aim too low, criminally low, and also how you can turn this into your advantage. I feel like you can see this everywhere, in almost everything. Like in school, particularly school isn't really that challenging. At least in the United States, from elementary to high school. College, I would argue, is harder, but that also depends on which college you go to. But high schools, for the most part, except for like the prestigious ones, are fairly easy. If I were to think back to middle school and high school, I would say the majority of my day was playing video games. As in, like, besides the time going to school, eating, sleeping, yeah. Number one ranked thing was video games. That was what I spent the most time on. Besides the mandatory things. I was playing Minecraft, grinding Bed Wars right after I came back from school. Like homework, I did it at school because, it was that easy. But even if you didn't do that, it's like you could easily just do it the day before it's due or just the day of it's due. It's like the bar for most public schools is set so low that it's incredibly easy to become the top at your school. It's so easy. The thing is, you aim low, just like everyone else. And just passing is good enough for you. You don't dare to become valedictorian, because it wouldn't be the cool thing to do. You wouldn't be cool for that. People wouldn't like you for that. You don't want to put in the work because it's uncomfortable, and certainly I've thought that way before. Moving on to fitness. The average American is overweight, if not obese. And that basically means that if you can even see your abs, you're doing probably better than like 90% of the people in this country. Like, this is not a bar that's set very high. This is a bar set very low. It just involves losing fat, which you can hear me imply that it's super easy, but it's not super easy. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. But that doesn't mean it's very easy. The two are slightly different. Moreover, if you lift for like a couple years and add 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, you'll be in like the upper 95th percentile of people. Once again, the bar is set so low, it is basically like criminal of you to not get these basic things. But are you going to do that? Are you going to aim low, or are you going to aim higher? That's your choice. Controversial topic is dating. At least in the terms of the sole goal of sleeping with women and casual sex. It's never been easier. Go to a college campus and go to a club. It's that easy, basically. The thing is, are you going to build yourself up and get into a healthy relationship? Probably not, because casual sex is so easy to get. And why would you want commitment, much less responsibility? Even then, why not just live vicariously through porn and not even get casual sex? Like, why don't you do that? Like, why do I need to go through all the work of, going outside? Like, ew, disgusting. Going outside, going to a club, ugh. Well, for me, that is pretty disgusting. I don't like clubs. But why go through all that effort to get some casual sex when I can just live vicariously? Why do that when there's billions of videos online? Why do that? All that variety on the internet. Why would I go outside for that when I have it all here, all on my laptop? Why would I do it? And you're right. If you have the sole purpose of just hedonic pleasure, you don't have a reason to. I lay all these examples out to sort of tell you that the standards set are so low. And if you're like me, you sort of wonder, like, why are the standards so low in this day of age? I think the biggest contributor is comfort. And I've already talked about this in my last video, but everything in the modern world is so comfortable, at least in Western countries. Like, you don't even need to go to the grocery store to buy groceries anymore. Not that that was not comfortable enough. I don't mean that we should revert to like animals and live in the wild and go hunting. But certainly all that comfort is dangerous to us as a society. And the problem I have with comfort is that it's a cycle. The more you crawl to comfort, the more you'll be unable to crawl out of it, to live a proper life where you experience discomfort. And you know this. You know it's shameful to watch porn 3 hours a day and play video games for 10 and feel that shame, but then you don't, because you distract yourself with more video games and more porn. So you just keep on delaying it. But the thing is that shame only makes it worse to act the next time. You may not consciously learn this or know this, but you instead sort of grow a mindset that you can't do difficult things. Right? That this is who you are. That the guy who is playing 10 hours of video games a day, who's watching porn 3 hours a day, this is who I am. You develop that identity. It's with that kind of identity, how could you ever clean your room? Or do something even harder than that? How could you escape that? And it's terrible to be in that place, and I see it a lot. Perhaps not people who think they are a failure for everything in their life, but for certain aspects of their life. The friend who can't lose weight and gives up on it. The friend who can't give up on video games because it's a part of his identity and his life is too boring without it. The friend who has broken so many promises to himself that he no longer trusts himself. I've said it's a cycle, and it's only worse as you get deeper. And so how do you break the cycle? It's terrible, and we should break it. And the first step is to do the most minimum task that you could possibly do. Say you can't clean up your room. It's too hard for you. Can you put your socks away? Can you hang your t-shirts? Can you do the little things, the most little things? Can you pick things up from the floor? Can you toss things into a trash can? Just to find the most absolute minimum task you can do. And do it. Because what you're doing with this is you're building faith that you can do things. And the start of building faith is always starting small. It's always starting with the smallest thing and then working up. Let's say you can put away your socks. Okay? Then aim a little higher. What else could you do? Can you clean your mattress? Can you organize your clothes? And as you aim higher and higher and higher, your faith in yourself increases that much more. And your ability to do things increases as well. And so keep in mind that these tasks aren't exactly quantifiable. You can't just say that's difficulty 1, that's difficulty 3, that's difficulty 7. It's not really hard. It's not really impossible to do that. It's really up to your own perception of how hard a task is. And it's upon these layers of faith that you build by doing these tasks that allows you to stand up and reach for the stars. So I want to end off this video with, people don't care about you. And you can wonder, how is this even relevant to this? Most people will not care if you elevate yourself or not. If you keep on going into the depths of hedonism. Most people don't care. In fact, I think most people would actually rather see you exactly where you are at. Because it wouldn't disturb the equilibrium. It wouldn't disturb their sense of who they think you are. You ever see a person after a couple years and they've changed dramatically? Because our minds keep thinking that they were the person that we thought they were back when we last saw them. Our minds are stagnant in that way, stagnant in keeping people's identities, not allowing change for those identities. And I don't think that's just a social construct. I'm pretty sure that's just built into us. At least I haven't seen a person who has not had that kind of experience. But don't take my word for it. But back to the main point. Most people would want you to stay where you're at. Because if you get better, then they would feel that they need to also get better themselves, because you want to keep things at equilibrium. If you two were equal, if you get better, well then he has to get better, or he won't be equal to you anymore. And of course most people won't do that. Most people will just drag you down. So instead of elevating themselves, they'll actively pull you down to where they are at. And this is literally a thing. This is called tall poppy syndrome. People will cut you to pieces if you try to elevate yourself above the herd. And maybe this is the reason why you don't want to aim high, because you're afraid that you'll get cut down. I guess I want to ask you then, do you live your life for other people? Do you live for people who couldn't care less about you right now if you had stayed with the crowd? People that if you had died wouldn't even know of you? know of who you were and if you even existed, much less care about you or even attend the funeral. I think that life is too full of people dragging each other down, and that we need to live our best life and leave the people who want us down. I mean, for all we know, you are granted one life. I am granted one life on this earth. Are you willing to live in hell during that time? Are you willing to live as someone else during that time? Are you willing to see yourself do things that you don't even want to do? To give up on dreams for other people that don't care about you whatsoever? Are you willing to do that? I implore you to think about this, truly. Think about this deeply. Like, what is it that you want in this world? What is it?